Our flight today uses Google Earth Pro Flight Simulator. We're starting our flight at Tan Son Nhut International in modern-day Ho Chi Minh City. I have scanned down to the lowest elevation and arranged our heading to look down runway 25 left. We're now in the flight simulator mode, showing heads-up display and headed down the runway. Once we reach about 90 knots, we'll pull back on the stick and be airborne. Your virtual pilot today is Carl Betzel, Executive Board Member with CentaursInVietnam.org. As you will quickly observe if you're a pilot yourself, I'm not a real pilot. I served as an avionics mechanic in F Troop in 1971 and 72. As we start our flight, let me explain a few things about the view. You will notice that terrain and some buildings appear in 3D. Other smaller buildings appear flat. It all depends on the level of photography Google Earth has for that part of the world. Another thing is that visibility is unlimited. You will see features on the horizon that would never be visible with normal humidity, haze, and clouds. The detail with Google Earth is very good and much superior to other commercial flight simulators. Some of the detail is lost, however, when converted to MP4 video. We're approaching Old Saigon now. Just left of center is Notre Dame Cathedral Basilica of Saigon. We will pass over the city and bank over the Saigon River and head back toward Tan Son Nhut. As we pass over the river, I will post an overlay of a picture I took near here in 1971. Coming up is a quick look to our left as we bank to the northwest back toward the airport. Tan Son Nhut International is now coming back into view. You will notice a large white target that the flight simulator uses to mark the spot where we initiated the simulator. The straight highway you see beneath us now is QL1, a national highway that runs the length of Vietnam. At the end of the runway at Tan Son Nhut, it makes a bend to the northwest toward Cu Chi. We will follow that route to Cu Chi as many pilots did during the war. As we follow QL1 to Cu Chi, we will level out between 2,500 and 3,000 feet. This would have been a normal point-to-point cruising altitude for Centaur pilots. The pyramid-shaped mountain you see on the horizon is Nui Ba Dien, probably not visible in actual weather conditions from this distance. On the right of the highway, you will begin to see pink markers indicating crash sites. Another board member, Michael Peake, searched military records and noted the coordinates of crashes of Centaur aircraft. Using his information, I was able to plot these and other points of interest on Google Earth Pro. This gives a unique view of the areas of operations of these two cavalry units. Coochie Base is now beginning to appear on the screen as a yellow marker used to designate Centaur home airfields. A quick look to our right shows Fuloy Base as a blue marker about 20 clicks to the west. As we approach Coochie Base, we will stay straight on Highway 237 as QL1 branches off to the west. Some of you that flew this route may remember Highway 237 at the end of the runway at Coochie. We are starting our descent over Coochie Village. As we approach the end of the runway, we will bank to the right and pass just to the right of the old runway. We will maintain an altitude of about 1,000 feet to enable a good view of the remaining features of the old base. As you can see, it appears the base has grown up in trees, but several structures appear to still be in use. It may still be an active military base, but it appears the runway is no longer in use. As we gain back some altitude, we're going to head to the northeast, intersect the Saigon River, and fly up the west side of the river toward Tainan City. As we approach the river and make our turn to the north, you may notice a yellow marker on the left side of the screen near the horizon. This is Lai K. The area between is known as the Iron Triangle. The Saigon River is now in view, and you will notice a bend in the river known as the Top Hat. Between there and the next named bend, called the Mushroom, was a strip of land referred to as Low Chally. As you will see from the number of crash sites in this area, this was one of the most costly areas of combat for Centaurs. The crash sites are labeled either by tail number, personnel involved, call sign, or type of aircraft, as the information varied in the historical records. This flight gives a truly unique way to appreciate the sacrifice made by these two military units. west of the villages of Trang Bang and Gotaha. I know I'm not pronouncing Gotaha correctly, as I've heard at least one D-Troop veteran pronounce it correctly in Vietnamese. I won't even attempt that here. Here's a quick look out our right window at the mushroom. The bend just downriver was called by many as Snoopy or the Dog's Head, after the cartoon character. We will continue our flight now to the northwest toward Nguyen Ba Dinh and Tay Ninh City and its two war-era U.S. Army airfields. A look to our right towards Da Tiang village shows we're still following the Saigon River. On our left is a post-war constructed canal from a new reservoir just north of Da Tiang. This canal provides water for industry and agriculture and eventually connects with other canals around Saigon. On the horizon to our right, you can begin to see the Da Tiang Reservoir. A glance to our right front shows the village of Da Tiang as a blue marker. We are now passing over the crash site of aircraft serial number 68-17328. That aircraft was a OH-6A Loach, or light observation helicopter, belonging to D-Troop. It was lost in March of 1970. This and often much more detailed information for these crash sites can be found on our website. Details on the website are provided at the end of this video. While we are making our way up to the Tay Ninh area, I should say a word about the flight simulator. The aircraft simulator used is an SR-22. This is listed as a high-performance propeller aircraft. While I've tried to maintain altitudes like those typically flown during the war, our speed is somewhat faster in order to minimize flight time between features. As you can see in the heads-up display, we're cruising about 175 knots, which is about 50 knots faster than a Huey. We are approaching the Ninh area and will be intersecting a transect line from Lai Khe to Ninh East Airfield. I have several pictures from along this transect that I will post. The first is a series of rice paddies along a creek that I photographed in 1971. In flying that transect line with the simulator, I happened to recognize that creek. The overlay shows the photograph of the area we are passing over now. We are now making a turn to the west to orient along that transect. Shown here is another photograph I took east of here, about halfway between Lai Khe and Ninh. It appears to be the aftermath of artillery fire or a B-52 strike. We are starting our descent into Ninh and pass over the city at about 1,000 feet to get a better view. We are now approaching Cao Dai Temple on the eastern outskirts of Ninh City. Cao Dai is primarily a Vietnamese religion headquartered in Ninh. This temple was often photographed by centaurs, as evidenced by the number of pictures that can be found on our website. Shown here is a picture I took in 1971. Next, we will pass over the site of Ninh East Airfield, as shown by the blue marker ahead. There is nothing remaining of the airfield today, but the location was determined by old military maps using coordinates and existing road features. It was a PSP-type runway and is shown in the first overlay. It ran approximately parallel with the highway visible between our position and the blue marker. The next picture is of pink teams waiting for missions into Cambodia. Nui Ba Din can be seen in the background. The final base we will visit is Ninh West Base. It is shown by the yellow marker just to our right. The base served at least as a temporary headquarters for D Troop early in the war. The base was a fairly large one and included most of the developed area you see on both sides of the runway. We are now making a turn to our northeast, and Nui Badin, or Black Virgin Mountain, will come into view. The mountain appears much different today, as it appears to have revegetated from the repeated bombardments during the war. It appeared more like a 3,000-foot rock pile in 1971. The picture of children playing shows the way the mountain appeared then. We're making a 180-degree turn now, and we'll try to get lined up on Tainan West runway and attempt a landing. I'm sure this will reiterate the fact that I'm not a trained pilot. I do hope you enjoyed this tour of Centaur combat areas. Look for other videos of Centaur combat areas in Vietnam on my channel. If you're interested in learning more about Centaurs in Vietnam, including the weapons, tactics, and aircraft and stories told by those involved, go to our website at www.centaursinvietnam.org. Also, if you would like to explore these areas yourself in Google Earth or Google Earth Pro, help is available on our website. Go to www.centaursinvietnam.org homepage. Select Help from the menu on the left and page down to item 61. This will provide complete instructions on downloading our Google Earth Pro sites directly to your computer.